Welcome, ladies and gents. Is Will Smith uncancelled? Well, if Bad Boys Ride or Die had anything to say about it, potentially. $105 million worldwide. Not a bad opening. It's done its production budget at the very least, to a degree. You know, at least on paper. It's still got another $100 million to go to break even on its production budget. But yeah, it's halfway there at the very least, which is not too bad. And for a movie like this, it's doing pretty well. This movie will rack up substantial cash flow in the secondary release markets as well. But we'll dive into this and we'll take a look. Please do hit subscribe if you're new here. Turn the bell notifications on. And if you like what I do, please do support me further via Patreon. You can subscribe there for as little as $2 a month. And it is the first link in the description box. You can, of course, subscribe for more, obviously. But for as little as $2, you can help out the channel through demonetization. Anyway, and it also stops me doing adverts, by the way, just as an FYI. Because I could take those crappy little Raid Shadow Legends adverts. I've done them every now and then. I'd like to, I'd like to permanently never do them again. So, patron. Anyway, Will Smith. Will Smith, post-slap. This is his first movie. It's doing okay. And it's not just this. It's also the fact that Will Smith has apparently incited a fan frenzy at Cinemark after sneaking into a Bad Boys screening. So these are the kind of things which I wanted to take a look at because I think it's interesting. I mean, in the broader sort of public, it seems no one really cares about the fact that he's a cuck. Like a literal cuck. Like I'm not, he is a literal cuck. And slapped, an individual on the Oscars stage. Very odd stuff. So, yeah, it is interesting. I will say this. I think this implies, at least to Hollywood's sort of greater, studio perspectives, that he's uncancelled and he's worth backing now. The Oscar winner, Will Smith. I think this will signal to them, which is, I don't know. I don't know what I think about that, because this does mean that we'll get that I Am Legend movie. And why do I say that? Well, they've been teasing it on the lead up to this film's release. It's been in the news flow. And I think that's kind of what they're working towards. They are spot checking. As they do with a lot of this stuff, they'll release stuff, they'll talk about stuff in interviews and things, and they'll, studios are not stupid. They'll be checking whether the feedback's good or not, and the studio will be checking back whether he is received well or not. So anyway, let's take a look, right? Update: Sony's Bad Boys Ride or Die. It pummeled pre-weekend opening projections, coming in with $104.6 million global. Which, that is its production budget. Now, it doesn't mean that they're taking all of that, by the way. Of course, it's a 50-50 split. It's a little bit different than that, obviously. But that's how you round it up. So that's just what you do. So they are halfway there to breaking even on their production budget. But remember, Bad Boys always does well in its secondary release forms. So Sony doesn't have a streaming platform, so they get to sell this. Right? Which means Sony is actually the smart one in the movie game at the moment. They've been able to sell their products on the back end and make more money, substantially more money from this, not only in Blu-ray sales, but sell it to streamers. And again, it's halfway there. I think this will probably break even at the very least. I don't know whether it'll go into profit, but its secondary markets will push it into profit, I believe. That's my prediction. So basically, $105 million global bow. It says $48.6 million from the international box office. Pretty strong international box office opening. I mean, it's a pretty even split, actually. Not 50-50, but pretty close to a 50-50 split. Actually, it's pretty damn close to a 50-50 split. So this has done really well. And it says this: while the overseas debut is slightly off 2020's Bad Boys for Life, which did $50.3 million. I mean, look, 4 years of inflation, it's not drastically different. It's a little bit different, of course. It has changed. But that's still pretty damn good. Like a post-Oscar slap, I bet Will Smith is like punching the air right now, going, my God, I'm uncancelled. Because that's good. That is good. You can't argue with it. And it says, in like-for-like offshore markets at today's exchange rates. Oh, so that was actually, sorry, that was adjusted. Oh, exchange rates not adjusted for inflation, whatever. So that film has strong legs. Either way, Ride or Die's start gave some much-needed oomph to Summer Turnstiles. Its launch is 58% bigger than Furiosa. The Will Smith, Martin Lawrence re-team from directors Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah was driven overseas by Europe with $19.3 million across the region. It set new regional records for the Bad Boys franchise in Latin America and the Middle East with $10 million and $9.5 respectively. So at the 60 markets this season or session, the UK leads with 4.9 million, but it just goes down into its breakdown, which is fine, sure. Did pretty well in IMAX as well, 8.2 million and 3 million from overseas. The other take home here is Garfield has now crossed $200 million global, or just thereabouts anyway, 192.7, which is pretty damn good. Really, really, really good, actually, genuinely. So that's interesting. And they do comment on some other bits and pieces, you know, like Planet of the Apes has done relatively well here and there. And then there's just some other little bits right at the bottom here. The Watchers, that's actually done really well by comparison to what I thought it would. The Fall Guys, still not doing great. Tarot, still not doing good. Kung Fu Panda, absolutely smashing it with 543 million. Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse biopic, $13.6 million global, which is pretty damn good for them as well. But the main focus of this is Will Smith and his uncancelling. So Will Smith headed to a Cinemark and surprised everyone, which is crazy. Like, he's got some balls to do that, which is hilarious because he doesn't have balls when it comes to his wife and her shagging other men. Anyway, so in the war on streaming, Will Smith is doing his part to get butts back in theatre seats. The Academy Award winner surprised fans at a recent screening of his new movie Bad Boys Ride or Die, the fourth installment in the buddy cop franchise. He snuck out of the theatre at Cinemark Baldwin Hills, Crenshaw, after watching the movie with the public. Surprise, wrote a fan, with the now viral TikTok video of the moment. When you walk out a Bad Boys movie and Will Smith walks out with you after having watched the movie with you, only at Cinemark, definitely staged. The clip starts with a group, well, I'm going to say staged, I don't know. So it starts with a group of unsuspecting moviegoers exiting the theatre as Smith walks out in front of them and says, "Hey, I'm glad y'all enjoyed that. That was a good movie," he said as excited. Yells immediately broke out. Fans swarmed Smith, who seemed more than happy to hug his admirers and pose for some selfies. While the credits rolled, he then led the crowd in a loud cheer as they huddled in the hallway, surely confusing anyone who happened to be watching, walking by. And this is what you see here. So this is why I think it's a little bit staged, as you can see. It's all pre-planned. He's there. Someone's filming already. Do you see what I mean? Bit staged, I reckon. But good on him. Like, I guess in that regard, it's good that people. I mean, this is clearly just PR stunt. He's trying to be relatable, but it's still. I mean, it works. It's good to see people be relatable, right? But yeah, I think he's uncancelled. I think that's what this indicates. I would hazard a guess now. Bad Boys Ride or Die will continue to, I don't know, go pretty well. Strong legs. There's nothing much really else coming out now that's going to sort of tackle it in terms of this box office. So this will progress quite nicely. What do you guys think? Love to hear your thoughts. Have you watched it? I don't really care about Bad Boys films, so I have not watched it. Not going to lie, I just don't really care. So there you go, ladies and gents. Thoughts down below. Take care. Bye-bye now.